Hello, I'm Seafood Source Editor Sean Murphy, coming to you again from Paris at the Global Aquaculture Alliance's GOAL2013 event conference. And I'm here with Ole-Eirik Leroy, who is the chairman of Marine Harvest, and he's also the keynote speaker today. Mr. Leroy, thanks so much for taking some time out of your schedule to talk with us. Heard your speech earlier today. You were talking a little bit about your company's ongoing sustainability initiatives, which you called the Blue Revolution. Tell me a little more about that.
Well, that's right. That's the word we're using because we think that aquaculture in general and salmon farming in particular is a part of the solution. It's a part of the solution to feed 9 billion people in the next 20 years, and growing sustainable aquaculture is what we call the Blue Revolution.
Right.
And I think it's a way of bringing out to people that we are really a part of the solution.
Well, we don't need to tell you, of course, that for the past 30 years, aquaculture has really taken off as a food source and as a seafood, a source of seafood around the world. Are you concerned that the rush to get out there and get on board means that people will not necessarily think as much as they should about sustainability? Is that what you're trying to get across? Say, hey, let's not forget the other messages?
Yeah, that's part of it. Growth is good, but we need to do it in a sustainable way. Mm-hmm. And in fact, one of the players who will feel it first if you don't do it right is the company itself, the farmer itself, and their employees. Mm-hmm. We ourselves, we had a big problem in Chile only 6-7 years ago, mm-hmm. because we were not farming in a sustainable way. And a lot of people lost their jobs. So there is a lot to learn about how regulations are done, and to do things sustainable today, we have to work very, very closely with authorities, mm-hmm. even with NGOs who are telling us a lot about asking a lot of questions, mm-hmm. and not to forget to relate and to talk with the rest of the industry.
A lot of effort and a lot of work to go through with a lot of different organizations, but in the end, it sounds like something that would benefit the company long term as well.
Definitely.
Okay.
No doubt about that. We're talking about salmon. It takes about 3 years to farm a salmon, and that's a lot of capital involved. It's a lot of risk involved, and our first and foremost priority is to think about sustainability, to think about everything that has to do with biological risk, so it goes hand in hand.
Now, there's also been some talk today too, I think Bjorn Meerseth as well, and I think yourself in your speech as well, talking about the use of alternative proteins. You know, there was some plant-based proteins, and the use of that over the past 10-12 years has grown dramatically in Norway, and we were just talking recently to a practitioner with Cargill who was saying it's not just Norway, it's happening everywhere. Yeah. So this is a real growing trend for you guys.
Yeah, you know, already today we are using all the fish oil in the world that are available for us, mm-hmm. for salmon farming or for fish farming, and we are competing head-on with all kind of medication, human consumption. So in order to continue to grow sustainable, we need to find new sources of raw material. Mm-hmm. So that will be vegetable ingredients, it will be a mixture of a lot of new ingredients. And there's a lot of work going on for doing that.
Now, has your experience been that it's been a difficult transition to start using plant-based materials? Because I think there are some, especially in Southeast Asia, you've got some seafood producers who are just almost baffled by it because it just seems to defy tradition, but it seems to be working for you.
It's working very well for us, and in Europe, for example, it's the other way around, because retailers are asking us, where does the raw material come from? Is it coming from sustainable resources, mm-hmm. or is it challenged resources that you are utilizing? Mm-hmm. So, in fact, when we can explain that we have been adding vegetable ingredients, they are very, very receptive and very interested.
Lastly, there was some talk today too about disease control. I mean, obviously they were talking about EMS and shrimp, which is not your thing. Obviously, you're more into the salmon. But there was a little bit of a talk about ISA as well, and about efforts to control that disease worldwide. What's your experience been? Do you see this as a positive future with trying to keep this in check and keep the product going out there as cleanly and as disease-free as possible?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, every kind of disease is the biggest threat we have to fish farming, mm-hmm. and to salmon farming today. So to work in a meticulous way, to have a focus on preventive activities is really the key word to be successful in salmon farming.
Okay. And does that go hand in hand with the sustainability issues? I mean, are they connected at all? I mean, you were talking about Chile having problems with sustainability down there. I know that some, I'm not sure if it was Marine Harvest or some of the other properties, but there's been problems with ISA in Chile in the past. You know, how have you been doing?
Well, we were part of that, and we had a big issues with that. We have to go back like 5-6 years ago. And that particular situation is under control now, both in Chile and in Norway. But there are other issues. If we are not careful, that can be a problem in the future.
So something to keep an eye on long term, of course.
Absolutely.
Okay, Mr. Leroy, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Mr. Leroy is the chairman of Marine Harvest, and he, of course, was the keynote speaker this morning at day one of Global Aquaculture Alliance's Global GOAL2013 conference. And keep watching seafoodsource.com for more full coverage from the conference all week long.